Hi guys, welcome in. My name is Randall Hill, aka Real One, and this is RHill World Podcast, a brand new podcast. You're catching episode 1 today. If you're joining me, I thank you for joining me. In this podcast, we're going to be discussing current events, um, get a little bit political. I identify as an independent, so I like to consider myself more down the middle of the road. And I just want to bring something to the podcast space where you can get some truth reporting. I am in no way a reporter. A little bit about me. I am just your average Joe working 9 to 5, actually as a truck driver. Being a truck driver has given me the opportunity to listen to a lot of podcasts over the years. And, I've been able to filter it into a few trustworthy podcasts. I've been the type to fact check things whenever I hear about them. And, no matter how kind of outrageous things are, somebody tells me something, I expect it to be true. And, one of the things that I have noticed from the mainstream media, on both sides, but mostly the left, this propaganda, fake news networks is they can't even be called news anymore. Most of the reporting you hear on those networks is, well, it's just completely fabricated. It's made up, um, unworthy of even being called news at this point. On the other side, I do see a little biasy. They're a little bit more truthful, but you still kind of got to pick apart their words and try to get the real story out of them, which is why we're seeing the podcast space as a growing entity for truth and information. And I just came upon this journey about a little over a year ago to want to get into this space just for that reason, to help with truth and reporting. I feel like the podcast that I listen to as a whole allows me to kind of filter out the information, what's real, what's not, give you guys another source to have your information reported to you. So on this podcast, we're going to be discussing a lot of the current events that are going on. I'll give you my insights on various different things that I feel like are affecting the country, the world, everything in between. Going to be doing some interviews with some really interesting people, bringing their takes on things, everything from politics to, just the jobs that they do. I can also give you the insight on, the job that I do, and we're just gonna kind of piece it all together and have a good time. So I cannot thank you enough for joining me and spending a little bit of time with me. I do give you my commitment to at least one show a week. I'll try to do maybe another one within the week if time allows. Do have a very demanding job, so that was one of the reasons for the delay in getting to this point. But hey, we're here, and we've got the equipment all set up, and I've set aside a time frame for this to happen, and so here we are, and I'm just really excited to be here with you. Unfortunately, we have had a major news event in cycle at the current moment. Obviously, with the political assassination of Charlie Kirk, the timing of my podcasting debut is a little bitter in that regard. But I just feel not only an obligation, but I just want to pay my respects to the late great patriot Charlie Kirk. I did mention that I am independent, and a lot of the reporting that I bring to you will be middle of the road, and it will be my opinion on a lot of things. But I want to bring as much as truth as possible, um, as I see it, to you. I will say that I do lean right. You'll notice that I am very supportive of our 45th and 47th president of the United States. I do feel like he's doing a great job for the American people, and I also feel he's the closest thing to an independent that we have had to this point, and he's doing really great things actually for the country and actually for the people. And it's not something every day that you see where you get a president who actually does what he says he's going to do. And in large part, we have seen that from him, and his America First agenda has definitely been on the forefront, and that's what we're seeing. So I do support him. With that said, Charlie Kirk, I feel like, was an American patriot, just a tremendous human being. I, of course, don't agree with all of his stances and all of his messages. However, his right to say them should be protected by all means. And that is one thing that I am passionate about. I am very passionate about our First Amendment and the Second Amendment. And I do believe that they were put first and second as law of our land for a reason. Our forefathers, they really did the Constitution right. It's been played with a little bit too much since then, but that as a starting point is very, very important that we keep that intact. And Charlie Kirk was doing nothing but, exercising his First Amendment rights, and promoted debate. He was a pro-life patriot. He was pro-family, pro-faith, and he was pro-God, pro-Christianity. Some of that I agree with, some I don't, but very, very smart man. Very young, 31 years of age. It's actually pretty amazing what he was able to accomplish in such a short time. Just an amazing career, an amazing person. As you can see from the outpouring of support he's received since passing away, all across the world, really, the lives that he's touched, millions and millions of people across the world he's touched. And I do believe that this event will do nothing but grow his legacy, and I'm really happy to see the result that we are getting from it, in spite of the sorrow and pain that we feel as a country. One thing that I did want to bring to you is I wanted to show you a little bit of the clip of his wife speaking after he passed away, just to kind of humanize him. There has been a lot of, lies that I just talked about, that you'll see in the mainstream media, as they have done with so many political figures. And he wasn't in office per se, to be a political figure, but he was a very active political figure in every means of the, he was an advocate for Trump, and you've seen all the lies and propaganda that they've spread about him. And, you can't be pro-faith, pro-family, and everything without the mainstream media on the left spouting lies off about you. But I did want to play a clip from Erica Kirk, Charlie's wife, who had a little bit to say when addressing the nation. And, without further ado, I will turn the floor over to Erica.
My heart is with every one of my husband's employees who lost a friend and a mentor. I want to thank the staffers of his amazing Charlie Kirk show, who helped him broadcast from this studio, this chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did. I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie here in Phoenix, across America, and worldwide. I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well, bringing him home. You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing. You supported him so well, as did he for you. 2 days ago, my husband, Charlie, went to see the face of his Savior and his God. Charlie always said that when he was gone, he wanted to be remembered for his courage and for his faith. And one of the final conversations that he had on this earth, my husband witnessed for his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Now and for all eternity, he will stand at his Savior's side, wearing the glorious crown of a martyr. Charlie loved life. He loved his life. He loved America. He loved nature, which helped him always bring him closer to God. He loved the Chicago Cubs. And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks. He'd want me to say go Ducks, so I have to since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks. But most of all, Charlie loved his children. And he loved me with all of his heart. And I knew that. Every day I knew that. He made sure I knew that every day.
I'll just leave that there. Such a heartbreaking video to watch. Charlie was a husband, father, son, patriot. He did not deserve to have his life ended short just because he was practicing his First Amendment right to freedom of speech. He encouraged free speech. He encouraged debate. If you didn't agree with him, he literally would put a microphone in your hand and want to have a discussion with you. Now, I've mentioned I didn't agree with everything that he had to say, but I do believe that everything he had to say, should you take his advice, you'd be able to live a better life than the one you're living today, in most cases. I don't see anything wrong with that. What I do see a problem with is people celebrating the loss of life. just absolutely beside myself by some of the rhetoric that I've seen from the far left, from Democrats. This is the type of rhetoric that has made me not only lean right, but I feel myself becoming so right that I will never vote left again. And, I have in the past, just because, I used to look at the person and listen to their views. And sometimes I agree with the left side, sometimes I agree with the right side. And I was always pick just the best candidate, the person who I saw as the best fit for the candidate. The way the left has been acting the past 10 plus years, probably even the past 20 years, I would say, I don't think I can vote for a Democrat ever again. They've just gone way, way, way too far. And this political demonic rhetoric that they're running around spewing nowadays, this assault culture, this assassination culture, it's just nothing that I would think that I would have ever thought I would see here in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. This type of stuff should not be happening in our beautiful country. Should not be happening anywhere across the world. But, we've seen their demonic rhetoric towards President Trump through his first term, all throughout his time rerunning, and, into the current day. And one message that I would like to send to as many people as will listen is I see a lot of shock and awe that they're going out and celebrating this man being killed for having an opinion, and then turning around and losing their job because they've expressed theirs. As if them expressing their opinion should have no consequence, but they're okay with the ultimate consequence for another man voicing his opinion. And his opinion wasn't hurting anybody. It was never meant to hurt anybody. And it's quite the contrary on the other side. It's just absolutely sickening, and even to this day it seems just unreal, like we're living in another world. And that's why I can't stay quiet anymore, even though I've had this passion and wanting to do this for over a year now. Having the opportunity finally get here and arise and this thing happen, I can assure you I'm here to stay, because I feel like we need more voices, and believe you me, there will be more voices than just mine. You already see there's growing chapters of Charlie's business, and if you watch Erica continue her speech, she says life will go on, and she is going to continue the podcast. She's going to continue to run all of his businesses and see out his messages and grow. And you're seeing that already happen. And she mentioned him being a martyr, and that's all that the left has accomplished with this heinous act of violence. But the political violence, it needs to stop. It absolutely needs to stop. There is no place for it. This political prosecution that we've seen of President Trump just being the leading candidate for the Republican Party that whole time, where they just go and make up 90 something charges to bring him to court over just throwing spaghetti against the wall. Let's see what sticks here. And some of the stuff that they've actually gotten prosecution on is just absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I feel like I will never vote for a Democrat ever again. The Democrats that I have voted for, like I said, I like to fact check things. They all lied to me as well. I see them as nothing but fake people. They have no policies. Nothing that's good for the American people. Nothing that's good for the country. And all they do is lie. Now, why I remain an independent is because I don't feel like the Republicans are 100% on board either. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to shoot you straight. I'll tell it like it is. If there's something going on the right, I see it, fact check it, I'll tell it like it is. Tell it like I see it. But I also do feel that following the right and their policies is the best way out of the troubles that the country is seeing today. Everything from, fiscal responsibility, law and order being re-implemented and carried out. We don't need new laws, guys. We need the laws that are on the books carried out, and we need the right people in the right positions to do so. And that's another thing with President Trump, that I feel he has a tremendous cabinet of people that are behind him. I do have my reservations, honestly, about Pam Bondi, which is very sad because I feel it is the most important position that he could have chose, and not so sure he got that one right. So I'm going to be upfront with saying that at the forefront. But I can say everybody else to this point, I feel, will do their job above and beyond the call of duty. And he did a tremendous job placing those people into the right positions in there. Adding to that, just mental stability needs to be brought back to the country. I mean, being real again, like this transgender movement that we've been seeing. We're going to talk a little bit about that in future episodes. But, just to kind of touch on it a little bit, I see it as a mental illness in most cases. Not all, don't get me wrong. I have talked to some medical doctors in relation to this kind of thing. And, there is a very, very, very small portion of the country that can truly call themselves transgender, being born in the wrong body. And, those people have to be seen by specialists, both mental and physical specialists, doctors, in order to be diagnosed as such. There is a whole process and a whole thing with that obviously I, as not being a doctor myself, I only understand the tip of the iceberg of it, but I do understand that there is such a thing as a transgender. However, with that said, the majority of people claiming to be transgender are not the real thing. They're going through some things. And the only thing that I can say to those people is that I truly hope, for your sake and the sake of others, that you come to love yourself. Be happy with who you are. That's going to be the only way out of the struggles that you're having mentally. Come to grips with who you are. Don't idolize anybody else. Don't wish you were something else that you're not, because it's very simply that. You're not. You have a lot of strengths that the world needs. But the world does not need you going out there, being hateful, spreading hate all across the world, being violent, and so forth. So all that I ask of those people is to just be loving and be accepting of yourselves. Because that's truly a gift. A gift of this thing we call life. And being angry every day of your life, it's not a way to live it. So that's all I ask of those people. We'll go into that further in detail in future episodes. And then, lastly, from what I see that I like from the right, you may agree or disagree, but, the freedom of, just freedom in general. Obviously, freedom of speech, our Second Amendment, and, on the subject of freedom of speech, we're not trying to censor anybody. In fact, we encourage you to talk. Because the more the left talks, the more the normies come around to see the idiocracy, the lunacy. And we don't have to say nothing. I would gladly give up my platform for these people to talk all they want. As you see, the growing party, the squad, any one of those people talk, this Crockett lady, she's a real winner. The AOCs, Schumer, all those guys, Pelosi, just full of crap every time they speak. So we encourage free speech, especially with them. We will never censor them, especially in any kind of an election cycle. Anybody that they put up against anybody that the right decides to run going forward, I can guarantee you the only type of censorship that will come, as we have seen, will be coming from the left to try to censor the right, which is also not right. Should never happen. And that's why it is the number one law of the land. With that said, also, a freedom, I just want to touch real quick on this thing that we have, freedom of religion. Like I said, I don't agree with Charlie on all of his messages. I do believe that, there are several avenues that people go to, aka religions, that people answer to or abide to. And I think if people need assurances in life to help them get through their day-to-day and be good people, then a freedom of religion is a good thing. However, I will say, and I feel very, very strongly about this, the USA should never adapt and adopt to share a law. Ever. If this happens, you will see the beginning of the end of this country as we know it. I'll also go into that further in future episodes. As for now, I just wanted to introduce myself again. My name is RHill, aka RHill One. This is RHill World Podcast, and I hope you join me in future podcasts. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my podcast. I thank you for being with me and hope to see you in the future. Hey, thanks guys.